All right, welcome back, guys. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Today we're going to be talking about Stetson Bennett, the third-string quarterback for the Rams, and the backup for the first two games of the season for the Rams. Before we dive into it, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Also, be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, especially Instagram, since I am posting a lot more there. And people who want a more behind-the-scenes look at my life and everything that's going on, Instagram is definitely the spot at JKBogan. So, Stetson Bennett, let's talk about it. What do we make of Stetson Bennett? This is part of the series. Like I mentioned, we did one on Matthew Stafford. We did a video on Jimmy Garoppolo. We're going to keep, continue doing it. I do need your help. Comment section below. Let me know. Should I do a video on dress or win? Yes or no? I mean, really, that's that. If not, I won't do it. I'll just go right to the running backs. If so, I'll do a quick video on dress or win. But with Stetson Bennett, he is going to be the backup quarterback the first two games because Jimmy Garoppolo is suspended. So I felt like this was definitely a necessary video. He could also be the long-term backup quarterback for the Rams for the foreseeable future. So I think there's a lot to like here. First off, I like that he's back. Okay, missed all of last year. Not really going to get too much into that. We already know he missed all of last year. It's presumed to be a mental health type of issue. So I'm glad that he's back. He went through a lot. There was a lot of trauma that happened. He lost a teammate. He lost a friend. In the accident, at Georgia. So you have to understand, putting yourself in other people's shoes will kind of help you understand things a little bit, but still you can't, even comprehend what a person's going through. And Bennett went through a lot last year. So I know it sucked to not see him on the field, although, really he would have only played week 18 and he probably would have played right before the bye against the Packers if he was available. But the reality of the situation is that the Rams found it necessary to bring him back. And that is a good thing because it means that the 128th overall pick in the fourth round of the 2023 NFL draft was not wasted. He's a 5'11", 190-pound quarterback that has always been doubted. He was a walk-on at Georgia. People really didn't buy into him. He's a two-time champion, was excellent. He led a brigade in his final game in college, the national title game for Georgia. They scored over 60 points against TCU to win it all. Again, he's going to be 27 in October. I'm well aware that, he's older for, the rookie quarterback, if you will, but the reality is Bennett is talented. He wouldn't be in the NFL if he wasn't. He definitely wouldn't be a Rams quarterback if he wasn't talented. And this guy wasn't drafted just because he played at Georgia. This guy was drafted because of the plays that he can make, whether it's off script, whether it's within structure, outside of structure, whether it's with his legs, with his arm, just how smart, how talented he really is. Yes, he's got physical limitations. I mean, it's kind of like me. I'm 5'8". That's not changing. There are some things that I can't do, like I couldn't play basketball if I wanted to, and that's just the way it is. Well, with Stetson Bennett, he's 5'11", $190, so he doesn't have a cannon for an arm. He doesn't have a flamethrower like a Joe Flacco, like a Matthew Stafford. He doesn't have that rocket arm. Now, with that said, he does have mobility, and this is a league that is becoming more and more and more obsessed with having a quarterback escape the pocket. And there's a reason for that. It's not crazy to say. There's a reason for that. When you have edge defenders who are running 4 threes for 40 times, and they're coming off the edge, they got elite 10, the 10-yard split is elite, the explosiveness, the burst, everything is elite. You need a quarterback that can escape in case the pocket does get penetrated, which it will. It always will. It doesn't matter how good your offensive line is. It just takes one play to get through. So what can your quarterback do off script? What can your quarterback do to get away from that? And Bennett has escapability as a skill. It's very evident on film, and that's a good thing. Now, he is the third string quarterback. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you my expectations for him in 2024 are to win a Super Bowl and be Super Bowl MVP. No. But he is somebody that could get into a game, maybe even week 18, depending on Garoppolo's health, and he's necessary. Whether you want to admit it or not, I know a lot of people have soured on Stetson Bennett, but the reality is Stetson Bennett is needed. Matthew Stafford has had some injury concerns, okay? Didn't miss a ton of time and definitely doesn't miss as much time as people make it out to be. Played all 17 games of the regular season in 2021. In 2022, he missed half the year due to some actually pretty scary injuries. It wasn't like a fluke. I mean, there were some bad injuries there. Obviously, the concussion wasn't great. But the sprained, or rather the bruised spinal cord, the contusion, that was serious. People question whether or not he'd play again. And then you have Jimmy Garoppolo, who's had a bevy of injuries. So as great as Jimmy Garoppolo is as a backup, you always have to be aware that, they have two quarterbacks that have dealt with injuries. They are in their 30s. Stafford is 36. So Bennett, being that he'll be 27 in October, the younger one of the bunch, he's still, he's not considered really young. He's probably one of the older rookie quarterbacks out there. And if we're still calling him a rookie, let me know. I would still call him a rookie because he didn't really play aside from the preseason. But with that said, he is necessary. He is going to be available the first two games. And then I think the Rams are going to keep him on the practice squad, or they're going to keep him on the roster. I still question the ability to bring him over on the practice squad. I think he'll be on the roster the whole year, because I think there are a few teams out there that may not tell you right to your face, but they would definitely put a claim in on Stetson Bennett if he was waived by the Rams to try to sneak him on the practice squad. We've seen it before. The Rams have done it before. Darius Williams, their starting quarterback this year, he only is a Ram, not now, but he was a Ram initially because the Ravens tried to sneak him onto their practice squad when Jimmy Smith came back from the suspended list, and it didn't work out. So obviously we know how that works out. But Bennett, what to make of him? Well, I think with the 2024 season for Stetson Bennett, it's all going to be about preseason. You want to see, some pushes forward. You want to see some good things to take away. I mean, we saw that in preseason last year. It's why I actually really like him. I like his ability to work off script a lot. I mean, this is somebody that shows his mobility on film, and he's got a decent enough arm where he can make plays, third and long, can, throw that ball into a tight window. He did that, had a nice touchdown to Puka Nacua in preseason last year, was throwing to Tyler Johnson. This year, it's probably going to be the Tyler Johnson show as well as the Jordan Whittington show. We might see Tutu Atwell because he's technically the fourth receiver as of right now. We'll see what ends up happening. There's no chance we'll see Puka Nacua. But I think, Bennett is clearly going to be the starting quarterback, I think, in preseason. I mean, maybe Garoppolo, but I'll say Garoppolo will probably play a little bit because the suspension and everything. But aside from that, I mean, I would just say, you expect to see a lot of Stetson Bennett in preseason, which should be fun. He's got weapons like, Zach Evans, who I've not forgotten about. Like I mentioned previously, Whittington, Johnson. There's some other guys out there that you guys like Stoops, Xavier Smith. There are definitely some guys. The tight ends, I don't know how that's going to work. Higbee's injured, so they might be cautious with, Parkinson and what have you. But you could see Davis Allen. You could see Hunter Long. You could see Colby Parkinson. We'll see what ends up happening. I think all in all, Bennett brings excitement to the preseason. The preseason is not very exciting for a lot of people, but I think he does bring that level of excitement. I like that he's back. I like that he seems committed. He's been working his tail off from what I've seen and what I've heard. So I'm very excited to see his development. I think he's in a great spot, obviously, behind Matthew Stafford and Jimmy Garoppolo. I think being around Sean McVay, being around Mike LaFleur, being around all these guys, I think it's only going to make him better and stronger. So don't bet against Stetson Bennett. I'm not saying he's going to be I'm not saying he'll be a franchise quarterback. But I definitely like a lot what he brings to the table. They drafted him for a reason. And I think the big thing with Bennett here to remember is that they still have, and I'm not necessarily sure if that first year counts because I don't think he was really on the roster at any point except maybe week 1. I don't think it counts as a full accrued season. So I think he still has, 4 years on his deal. Now, I might not be right about that. Very curious to know that. But the point I'm making here is Bennett is going to be around for a bit, okay? And the exciting thing is, Bennett being that he's on a 4-year deal, if last year didn't count, he's still on a 4-year deal. I'll have to find that out and get back to you guys. If that's the case, you do 4 years, Stafford's probably not around for that 4th year. Okay, so there's a chance Bennett is being built up to potentially take over for Stafford in the short term. That would give the Rams the opportunity to draft whoever they wanted to be that franchise quarterback if they did that. A guy that might take some time, a guy they might have to work with, a guy they might have to have sit for 2 years. Bennett could be that, stick him in there and start him type of guy. Wouldn't be surprised. I don't think he is amazing by any stretch. But I definitely am not out on him like a lot of people are. I think he's really kind of underrated in what he does. I think he was underrated in college. It took me a while to realize that, but he was definitely underrated. What he was able to do at Georgia was impressive. You can knock him and say, well, he had all these weapons and all that, but we've seen guys with a lot of weapons who didn't do anywhere near as much as what Stetson Bennett did. So, look, end of the day, Bennett is probably not the franchise quarterback for the Rams in the future. But he could very well be that journeyman who takes over, who's developed into a bridge starter and gives them the flexibility to go out and get the guy they want, regardless if he's ready to play or not. I think that is the thing that gives the Rams some flexibility here. If Stafford were to retire in the next 2 to 3 years and you could get Bennett on a cheap renew of his deal, you could have Bennett as the plug and play bridge starter and not worry, because the quarterback who might have the highest ceiling when you go to draft, for your franchise quarterback, you might be like, he has the highest ceiling, but I don't know if I want to wait 4 years for him. Or I don't want to wait 2 years for him, whatever. Now you have Bennett, so you might not have to. So I'm not saying he's 100%. That's always been the game plan. But I am saying to keep an eye out, because Bennett, when he was drafted, was meant to be a long-term backup instead of just drafted to be a starter. However, the long-term backup could coincide with being a bridge starting quarterback. Think like a Case Keenum to Jared Goff, right? Think like that. So that's how I see it, like a Gardner Minshew to an Anthony Richardson type deal. We'll see what ends up happening. But as far as Bennett's 2024 season, let's just buckle up. Let's get ready for anything, because this is the NFL. He could very well end up starting at some point this year if, injuries don't go the Rams' way. That's just the reality of it. But I'm excited to see his development, and I think he's got a great supporting cast around him, whether it be weapons, whether it be the coaching staff, or just the quarterbacks in that room. I think he's going to get a lot better this year. I'm glad, all of what he went through last year is, somewhat behind him. And I'm ready to see this kid roll, because this was a fantastic draft in 2023, and people just kept coming back to, well, if only Stetson Bennett wasn't a waste pick. And here he is, not a waste pick, evidently. He is going to back up Stafford for the first 2 games at the very least. He is going to play in preseason, and he is somebody to look out for in the near future. So those are my thoughts. Be sure to follow me on all social media at JKBogan, and be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later, folks. Do you love talking about the Rams, the NFL, or just want to be a part of a community? Join my free Discord server today. We're over 800 members. We got 24/7 live chat, a level 3 boosted server, the ability to call into JE Live, playing online games with us on Kick streams, toggleable alerts for when I go live on YouTube or Kick so you don't miss a live stream, and exclusive giveaways. Click the link in the description, the comments section, or the link that comes up in the video to learn more and join today.